Okay, so Cleo and I would like to welcome you to the 12th video on the 1889 project. This is March 9th, 2019, and that means it's the 10th day of the experiment, and it is still bubbling. I don't know if you are a distiller from somewhere else where 9 days of fermentation is normal, but we've never had fermentation last over a week. It's almost always 5 to 6 days. There's no way. There's just no way. So at 9 days of fermentation, and it's still going okay. I mean, it's not like really slow. It's not fast or furious or anything, but it's not really slow. It's absolutely impossible. You've already met Cleo, and Margie's right over there. See, there she is, sunning herself. Right now they're on break. They are the security team for the grain, and the grain, as you can see over there, is completely secure, and there are no holes in any of the in any of the bags because the ladies are taking care of business. Anyway, I think you probably have gleaned from all of the videos what we're doing. It's my grandfather's recipe. It's a rye moonshine, and I have no idea if it's going to work at all. There might be something going on that I've never seen before. There's so many variations in what we've done. The way we stirred, the way the recipe works. Everything about it is weird. The way it's set. If I was going to categorize all the things that would be dramatically different than our normal process, and I'm talking about the process for everything. We do rum, whiskeys, vodkas, everything. But the processing is dramatically different. If I was going to categorize that, the most important elements of the differences, well, first of all, there is the actual mashing process. Well, I guess, first of all, there's the recipe, because the recipe contains malted rye and raw rye. And anytime we use a raw product, there's a danger involved for a bunch of reasons involving bacteria and other possible problems. We have to cook it, right? And so having a recipe like that is very dangerous for us. First of all, there's the fact that we never work with all rye and with multiple kinds of rye in one mash. We'd never do that. There's no reason to do that for us. So that's weird. And the raw rye, normally what we do with raw barley is we just cook it. You know, we cook it 180 or whatever for multiple hours. We know it's completely sterilized, and it saves us from having any problems with inoculation of bacteria. Typically, sometimes problems happen. Every run is different. Every mash is different. But we don't have back set to protect us, which is, you know, a sour mash process changes the pH. This is a protection that we use for whiskeys. We don't have that. So that's a grain product protection that we can't employ. We also cook it, but we can't employ that. So the second big difference beside the recipe was the fact that we had to boil water and then dump grain and basically mix it. And that was different than normal, because normally we cook it, right? And for at least a short period of time. But we couldn't cook it. And that makes the raw products even more dangerous because there's no controlling the temperature. Then once we cooked it with just dumping the boil, so in other words, we're not cooking it, we're just letting it sit. Once we did that, we couldn't cool it. So the third huge difference is not being able to cool it properly. When you put all these things together, you're in a world that's very dangerous. There's so many differences So different recipes, different ingredients, different way of mashing in, different way of cooling, and the cooling was let it sit. I mean, that's crazy. That's not something anyone would do. It's just way too dangerous. Just let it sit. I mean, maybe somebody does that out there, but that's not what we normally do. So now we're in this process where we don't have any amylase or any chemicals. We don't have any help in any of the process. We didn't, like, for instance, we normally would oxygenate, right? The first 24 hours of any process, we oxygenate to help build yeast walls to be stronger and all these things. It improves the process. We didn't do that either. We don't use any technology for this. We haven't used any. And so now here we are on the 10th day of this process, the 9th day of fermentation. We've never seen anything like this, anything even close. This is 3 to 4 days longer than normal. It may be something very simple, such as because we weren't able to stir with actual stirring devices, mechanical stirring devices, we were using primarily the rowing technique and then stirring with regular stirring. That may have made it so that it takes a lot longer. I don't know. Still doesn't make sense for it to be this long. So at this point, I can't determine when it's going to stop, because I would say the last 3 or 4 days, it's been the exact same rate. Of course, another possibility is it's completely gone. Like something horrible has happened, like completely destroyed everything. That's possible. That's also possible. We're not going to know that until we run it. Here's why I think it's probably okay. And this is me getting crazy, but here's why I think it's probably okay. I'm smelling it every day, and it's changing dramatically all the time. And that's an indication to me that there's action going on. I don't know what action. I don't know how. I don't know what kind of weird, extra bonus, weird stuff is happening in there. But right now, I can smell alcohol. In other words, when I smell it today, it smells different than each day before this. There is a sort of a cheesiness. There is a graininess, a lot of apple cider and beer qualities. But today was the first day when I smelled it that I smelled alcohol, like a little nose burn. That means to me, and I could be completely crazy, right? But that means to me that it's been making alcohol this whole time, and that now it's made it quite a bit. And that means that it's probably sterile. And it also means that maybe there's not a problem. And it also means that if the alcohol keeps going up, it will eventually kill off the yeast, and it will be done. Within the next day or two, my guess is it will be done. And when it stops bubbling, and when we are able to transfer it as wash into the still and actually run it, it'll be like a miracle day for me, because I cannot wait to see what comes out of that. So, and sure, maybe nothing comes out. Maybe I'm insane. Maybe I'm smelling weird smells, because I don't know. I've never done this recipe in my life. And matter of fact, this recipe hasn't been done in over 100 years. So this is not something there's a book on. It's not something we have any experience in. It's not something I can call somebody and ask them. There's literally nothing we can do but write it out and see what happens. I'm hoping and praying that some amazingness comes out of this. You know, Shannon Jackson, who's our PR person, media person, she thinks it smells like an IPA. That would be a high alcohol content, and a graininess and a citrus quality. I get all that as well. You know, Bobby has said it. He thinks it smells like a beer. My wife thinks it smells more like a gym locker, a little bit of like feed or cheese or something. But I tell you what, it smells like all of that stuff. And to me, it's growing on me. Like, the smell freaked me out. For more on that, see that video where I was freaking out. But I think it smells great now. I like it. I like the smell. It's complex. But the most important part is I can smell alcohol. And if I can smell alcohol and I'm right, it really is alcohol, then that's a very good sign. It means we're making alcohol. It means it's getting stronger, and it means it's almost done. So we'll see. We'll see. Wish us luck. Stay with us for the next few videos. Like I said from video number 1, I'm hoping and praying that someday I'm sitting in this video with a glass in my hand of something that I can drink that this produced. So we'll see. All right. March 9th, day 10 of the 1889 project in the books, and we keep rolling, literally. Thanks.